Hello and welcome to the second episode of my season, focusing on my Formula 1 2010 career. I am Messrs Law. Now, the first episode of this wasn't my best, to be honest, so I've changed up the format slightly and hopefully going to improve my commentary because I rushed it out last time and I did the commentary at like 2 a.m, which is never a good time to do it. Okay, so what you're watching here is my fastest qualifying lap, which only got me into Q2, 13th position, but I thought it was a fairly tidy effort. A few small mistakes, few things I could have done slightly better, but kind of driving to within the limitations of the car at the moment, which isn't too great because I've not had any developments put on it yet. But the next race is Malaysia, which I'm trying to get through now, but I hate that track. Not like Australia, which is one of my favourite tracks, and I actually did quite well here. Despite the fact it wasn't as good a result as I got in Bahrain, but I think Bahrain was just a one-off. All the AI seem a bit more competitive on this track, so there we go. Obviously in the first one I tended to rabbit on about nonsense. I didn't really have any coherent thoughts on any part of the game, but hopefully I'll improve that on this one. Let's say start off here. This section here, you actually get such a massive advantage over the AI in there. I don't know what it is about them, but they seem to brake too much, or I don't know, they just don't carry the speed, so you can gain quite a lot on here. This is one of my favourite turns here because you can plant the throttle very early, and on this last corner here on the exit you've got to be very careful with the power because the back end slides out so easily. That's why I'm being a bit cautious there. But that's my qualifying lap. I think it was a 1:30.079 I think it was there. Can't quite see it because I'm looking at bad quality. Alright, here we go. Straight onto the race, nice and quick. You see there's some lovely nice Red Bulls there. Of course it's the weekend of the Japanese Grand Prix and they've just had a 1-2 finish, which was quite exciting to watch. Very good race. That's another one of my favourite tracks. You can see here I've actually started on the prime tyres, options, the option tyres rather than the primes, because in the last race my start was appalling. It's a much better start here, but you can see where the HRT lacks power, and you can see how I make that up by being aggressive and cutting across the front of a few people. This is actually quite a scruffy first few laps. I'm showing you the first 5 laps until my pit stop, and then I'll just show highlights of the race because I don't have time to obviously cram the whole race into just 15 minutes worth of YouTube time, and you'd probably fall asleep like I did this morning trying to watch Japanese Grand Prix. As you see early on I lost one position. I think I started 13th, dropped down to 14th, and I've been stuck behind Kobayashi, who very good driver, who did quite well in the Japanese Grand Prix today, despite his team messing it up for him a little bit. But you can see at the moment I'm just trying to push like crazy, just trying to make up as much time as I can before I have to come into my pit stop. I changed my pit stop so it's on lap 5. Normally it's lap 6, but when you pit on lap 6, so do all the computers. And there you see my point about that section of turns there. I could just gain so much time on them from there. Still, Kobayashi gave me a little bit of pass at work, but got it done. But yeah, basically, if you pit on lap 6, the whole grid seems to pit behind you, and you end up being stuck in your pit box for about 10 minutes. I bloody waited, not 10 minutes, 10 seconds, waiting for them to all go past you, and it completely ruins your race. So AC down, tweaking the front wing angle to try and get some extra speed down the straights. It doesn't actually do that much, especially in the HRT, which is the slowest car on the grid in a straight line anyway. So I tend to just leave it on plus front downforce. I don't know why, it just seems to improve it. So I took a bite at the Force India there, and harshly got a penalty for that. I barely touched the side of him, but still got a warning for it. Not so much a penalty. Oh, it's a penalty. But yeah, he gave up pretty easily. If that was Kobayashi, I doubt it would have been that easy. You can see I'm just pushing hard as I can. It actually gets quite scruffy these few laps coming up. But in the future, I think at the start of my videos, I'm going to be asking people who are watching to see whether they've got anything they particularly want to see. One of the things I did in Melbourne, one of the experiments I might put up on my own channel just to show you guys, as I do Suto wear. It's Leopsi's Suto's ahead of me. But yeah, one of the things I'll be asking is whether there's any little... Oh no, that was Suto. Excuse me, that was Suto. Now Schumacher's in front of me. But yeah, one of the things I'll be asking is basically, are there any things you want to see? Do you want to see mistakes like that and how to avoid them? If that's what you want to see, I might not be able to help you, because to be honest, I make a few of those mistakes, like pretty much every race. But yeah, one of the things I'll be able to show you is the recovery technique. If you lose the back end, a lot of people notice this, as I rudely not only cut across the front of Suto, Leopsi there, sorry, but also smash one of those corner markers. Yeah, one of the things that people have been saying is when you lose the back end, if you stamp on the brakes, I mentioned it in the other video, stamp on the brakes and your car will go back into the right direction. I think I'll do it at some point in this race as well. But it's one of those things that the die-hard sim fans won't like, because if you jump on your brakes it might help a little bit, but generally speaking, if you're already sliding that much, you shouldn't be able to recover it, or you should be able to recover it with excuse me, a little bit of power and a little bit of opposite luck. Sorry, you'll have to excuse my voice. As I say, this video is delayed because I've had the flu, so I am coughing and spluttering a little bit, and I'm also crashing into the back of Force India and getting warnings left, right and centre. Yeah, so basically I'll ask people what they want. One little experiment I did here was to go out in the practice session, which was wet, and basically see how long I can last on the slick tyres, to see how long they kept their performance up, and to see obviously when they started to drop off. And it's quite a surprising result actually, that they lasted quite a while into the rain. I've heard that this only works if you're on, say, a long session and it starts to rain, then it progressively gets wetter. But I've heard if it's already a wet track, you can't go out on the slicks, you'll just spin off straight away. And certainly I found that I could do about 5 laps before I just started running wide. I wasn't spinning, it was just losing front grip and understeering mainly. But yeah, that's one of the things I'll be able to show you. No requests for crashes please, I'm trying to keep my car as damage free as I possibly can, even though I've lost a few front wings already in practice. But I'm not going to be ploughing into the back of any cars just to show you the damage model, because there's plenty of videos about that already, and I would quite like to keep my contracts, well, not with HRT obviously, but I'd like to get a contract with a better team, because that is the whole point. Right, so lap 4 at the moment, position 12, that's probably my 10 billionth warning for cutting corners, which I did quite a lot on this. But I am closing in on Sutil, and he is closing in on Schumacher, but I have a feeling that I make a mistake before that, because my tyres have started to go off, something you might notice there. Oh, as you see, I just crashed into the back of him again. That has to be the 3rd time I think I've hit him. But yeah, you might notice that it pops up with little yellow tyres. That means your tyres are starting to go off, and you might not think that'd be a big deal, but in the HRT the tyres go off very quickly, and when they do, it is fairly catastrophic. The next sequence of turns you'll see I lose the back end and nearly crash, and it's a good demonstration of the jumping on the brakes technique, which I've already learned. I learned that in the first race, so it's fairly easy to pick up. You see here, I lose it right here, stamp on the brakes hook, and it puts you back into line. That might be a good tip for you guys that aren't using traction control, which is basically the one driving aid which will improve your driving no end. I reckon if I had traction control I'll probably be halfway through my season by now, because I wouldn't even need to bother practicing. But with traction control, to get the consistency, you just need to practice, because it's a drivability factor rather than the speed which you'll be looking to improve. I can match anyone's time, or not anyone's obviously, but most people's times when they're using traction control if I don't use it, but when it comes to a race they'll probably beat me because I'll be too cautious or I'll make too many mistakes. And right, I'm coming up to my pit stop here. This actually, I did another attempt at this race and I pitted on lap 6, and I don't think it was fair because basically I pitted perfect pit stop and then I got held for 10 seconds before I got let out, so I restarted it, pitted on lap 5, and you'll see this works out a hell of a lot better. Like you can see here, all you have to do is just jump on the brakes and floor it away, and you get lovely shiny achievements that say well drilled. There we go. And right, I'm going to leave you with that. That achievement's obviously for perfect pit stop, but I'm going to leave you with that. Watch the highlights of the rest of the race, a couple of overtakes, nothing too interesting. Like you can see here, I'm coming up on a couple of cars which I try and overtake. But look forward to the next episode, which is Malaysia. I'd appreciate your comments and feedback. Hopefully this is a little bit more watchable and a little bit better than the first episode. Obviously if you want any requests, if you want to see me try anything or demonstrate anything in a video, then leave a comment. Obviously subscribe to Bring 10 Gamers, because we're going to have more of these videos and a lot more Call of Duty videos, Black Ops videos coming up, and some nice little FIFA 11 montages hopefully. But right, I'll see you later. I'll leave you watching the rest of this race, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Pit stop. One of their drivers is coming in. Temperature zone. Tyres are at optimum temperature. Good job, nice overtaking. You're coming up behind one of the Saubers. That's 12. Just 2 places outside the points. Well done.